I used to think these things were always called Fishies. Hey there, welcome back to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and today we're discussing the 14th studio album from the psychedelic rock band King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. This one is entitled Fishing for Fishies. Now, when I say this is the 14th studio album from this band, you're probably thinking that they've had to have been around for 20 some odd years, but no, King Gizzard have only been together since 2010, and they released their first album in 2012. So yeah, if you think the Beatles were prolific songwriters, they've got some competition here. Obviously, with more releases, it doesn't always equate to higher quality, but miraculously, this band has garnered praise for most of their albums, typically scoring between 7 and 8 out of 10, just from the averaging of scores that I did between Pitchfork, Metacritic, and AllMusic. In order to get a rough idea of what King Gizzard sounds like, it's very hard to pin them down with one specific label. They really like to dabble in a surplus of rock subgenres, ranging anywhere from prog rock to garage rock to psychedelic rock to acid rock to experimental to blues to lo-fi to even some jazz.
You like jazz?
It'll definitely take me some time to catch up with their discography, but without further ado, let's jump into Fishing for Fishies, and as an FYI, this is my first exposure to the band's music. Kicking off this record, we get the title track, Fishing for Fishies. This one's got like a country bluegrass feel. It's got a lot of galloping energy, and it's got a nice walk-along bass line. The lyrics are unapologetically silly, but there is some extra weight behind the message of this song. It ironically points out how people can hate fishing, but when they're hungry, they'll still go to the length of eating fish. Moving on to the second track, Boogieman Sam. This was one of the pre-release singles. This one's got compelling harmonica and grooves. It makes me think we're getting a fusing of Head of the Herd with the Sheepdogs. One of the best songs of the year, no doubt in my mind. The guitar solo is gripping, also one of the best guitar solos this year. The drums are mesmerizing, and the overall arrangement is action-packed. The third song on Fishing for Fishies is entitled The Birdsong. This one's a piano-driven track. It feels something like what Vampire Weekend would throw together. I really got to give some love to the mellotron and how it's used on this record. On this song in particular, I feel like it's the highlight. It just recreates this idea of orchestration, and it's just so rich and luxurious. Plastic Boogie is another cut on here. The guitar tone is truly unique. The groove is toe-tapping. The message of the track is also socially relevant and cogent, with its argument about plastic killing the wildlife. The squawking screams in the background are a cool effect to throw on the track as well. Then we move on to the song The Cruel Millennial. This one's got some irregular time signatures on it. It's a refreshing pleasure to my ears. The drum fills are similar to the ones used on Boogieman Sam, but still captivating. The harmonica makes another stunning return, definitely a star moment for Ambrose Kenny Smith. The organ and vibraphone are encapsulating, and the upright bass is a solid choice to round out this eclectic track that pulls from elements of psychedelia, blues, garage, and southern rock. Skipping ahead to the track Acarine, this one is psychedelic and trippy. The lyrics are even out there, speaking about a specific disease that affects bees. It makes me question what kind of hard drugs these band members were on to write such a song. I can't knock them though, because the lyrical content is intelligent and biologically invigorating, and I can definitely approve as a science student myself. Sonically, this cut transitions really well into the second leg of its composition. It definitely goes for this electronic house kind of influence. The synthesizers on here are unlike anything I've heard before. It kind of just sounds like space trains, you know, like trains out in space. How dumb, right? But anyways, this track sets up very well for the groovy and hypnotic Cyboogie. The swing shuffle rhythm, the experimental form, and funky tones on this track are commendable beyond belief. Lyrically, I'm not even smart enough to understand what is being talked about here. I feel like I'm being danced around in a circle. The story of the track essentially revolves around a character named Han Taeyumi, which is an anagram for humanity. Basically a human-turned cyborg who's been referenced on previous King Gizzard works. I still don't fully comprehend it, but the funky jam of Cyboogie along with the rest of this record has me intrigued to check out the rest of the band's discography, starting with the prolific kind of output they did in 2017. I think they released 5 albums over 10 or so months. Overall, on Fishing for Fishies, I'm feeling a 7 out of 10. This record impresses me for its musical passages that wander into more experimental territory, while they still circle back to more conventional means of boogie rock. Lyrically, this album is both sharp and original. The vast majority of it centers around themes of environmental conservation, and it's done in an insightful and sometimes discerning manner. However, what could push this album to higher grounds in terms of a score, I would need some more catchier melodies and more concise song structures. I definitely feel like some of the songs on here lack some form. I mean, we can say that they are consistently inconsistent, but overall, a lot of the cuts on here, including the title track and This Thing, feel a little scatterbrained, while a song like Acarine sonically and thematically sets up the closing moments in a pretty grandiose and beautiful way. Basically, what I'm saying is that some songs benefit well from the expanded form, while others kind of just feel like a loose collection of thoughts that kind of fizzle out and don't really go into interesting territory. That's the review of the King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard album, Fishing for Fishies. Tell me what you think of it. Sound off down below in the comments. Leave a like. Subscribe if you're new in town. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a rockin' day.
You like jazz?